Now, at the end of the day, when it comes to Carmilla, they could just reveal that she's been an overlord for a long time, because before this, she was just an overlord of weapons. Perhaps dealing with weapons that had a strong effect on sinners and made sure they had trouble respawning and putting themselves back together, even if the weapon she provided back then couldn't permanently kill anyone. And really, what's more important is Lilith's uprising and how that inspired Vox and Charlie. When Charlie narrates the story of Lilith and the coming of the annual exterminations because of her, she does so by reading a childlike storybook. And it felt like in season 1, this was hinted at being a story that Charlie was being read as a child. This is something that only would have happened 7 years ago, however, with Charlie having this book as part of the history of hell now for some reason, but already being old enough in the last 7 years to have a better understanding of what's going on in the world and what her mother is doing. Despite that, Charlie seems to be the only one who thinks that Lilith's music career wasn't about rising up against heaven. She sees her plan of trying to get sinners into heaven as no different than Lilith's supposed plan or ideology of trying to get sinners into heaven for themselves. The way everyone else interprets Lilith is wanting to attack heaven in order to conquer it, with Charlie just seeing it as being about the sinners needing to take more accountability for their actions and try to be better people. Of course, Charlie seems like she's naive and not understanding what her mother was really up to, especially now that it seems that Lilith has some sort of bigger plan that she's working towards, being some sort of double agent. But on the other hand, the entire season has shown us that what Vox does is take what other people say and twist it for his own advantage. He's been doing this with Charlie in order to attack the hotel, and then did it with Heaven in order to attack them. So there's no reason to think that he is the most honest interpretation of what Lilith's music and original movement were actually about, even if Charlie isn't 100% accurate either. The truth of the matter is that Lilith was likely being deceptive, and because of that, naive people like Charlie are able to interpret it as rather innocent, as being about sinners needing to get into heaven because they deserve a better life. While others like Vox and even Heaven would inevitably interpret it as an attack on heaven, as telling them that they're going to go there and take heaven for themselves for negative reasons. Basically, I imagine that she designed her songs to legally sound like she's just inspiring sinners to stand up for themselves and to make hell the best place it can be while reaching for heaven. And Vox made a pretty funny joke about how Lilith was trying to make hell great, and how together they can make hell great again. A clear shot at our modern political situation. What's important here is that Lilith did want to incite some sort of violence against heaven, it seems. And even with her out of the way, the lasting effect of her music has allowed others who have goals against heaven to do that very thing. And this is why I think Lilith is something of a double agent. She's not just doing what heaven wants in order to stay in heaven, or the Garden of Eden as some people theorize this is, but she's doing her own sabotage while being here, while manipulating things down on Earth so that Vox and others like him will still rise up and use her music as inspiration to do her bidding. Now, part of the reason Vox has been able to position himself as a power over Lucifer was the big reveal that Lucifer actually doesn't have the authority to do anything to stop Vox or other sinners. In these recent episodes, we learned that Lucifer was placed in hell as the king, but this is something of a figurehead title with no real power. There are hints of this over in Hell of a Boss, where Lucifer is absent from the big trial containing the other 7 deadly sins. But we got a full confirmation with Lucifer telling Vaggie himself that he has no power in hell, and that being here without being able to affect the flow of things is his punishment. It's designed so that Lucifer can't actually make hell a better place, so that the sinners of hell will end up making it the worst place possible, and Lucifer will only ever see the negative outcomes of his initial action, giving them the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Because of that, he's allowed to go down and threaten and parade his power around, but he's not allowed to actually use it. And unfortunately, Vox is able to call this out in front of all of hell, making Lucifer no longer feel like a real leader, even though no one really respected him much before this.